In this video, we'll be hunting 2 boxes of pennies. We'll be looking for any wheat cents from 1958 or earlier. We'll also be looking for any foreigns, proofs, heirs or varieties, or any other cool things we can find. And we do have a couple of enders in the first box. We have a wheat cent right here, and a Canadian cent right here. So we're going to start with the box with the enders, and I'll bring you in when we have our first find. Roll number 2, and we have the first foreign besides the Canadian ender, and it is also a Canadian cent, and it's a 1989. We're on roll number 7, and that was a wheat cent ender roll. It's going to be our first wheat cent of the box, and looks pretty worn on the reverse, so hopefully it's a little bit older. And it is. It's a Pre-40s, a 1935 out of Philly. That's a great way to start the box. Next roll, and we have another wheat cent. This is going to be wheat cent number 2 for the box so far. And it is another one from the 30s. This one's a 1936 out of Philly. Great that the box has started off with 2 wheats from the 30s. Roll number 9 is the third roll in a row with a find. This time it is going to be another Canadian cent. And it is a 1981. Same roll, and we have wheat cent number 3 for the box. This one is a 1950 out of Denver. Roll number 11, and this is pretty crazy. We have our third wheat cent from the 30s, and this one's a 1930 out of Philly. With all these 30s wheat cents, this is going to turn out to be a great box. Next roll number 12, and we have another foreign. It's going to be another Canadian cent, third so far, and it is a 1982. Roll 13, and we have wheat cent 5 of the box. It's right here. Looks pretty nice, probably in the 50s. Yep, a last year 1958 Denver. Roll 17, and we have wheat cent number 6. Didn't see the edge at first because it's so damaged. Can't tell if it's worn or not. Let's see what it is. It's a 1945 out of San Francisco. Roll 18, and we have the fourth foreign of the box. It's yet another Canadian cent. And this one is from 1971. Roll 23, and we have Canadian cent number 5 of the box near the beginning of the roll. And this one's from 1968. Next roll, and we have yet another Canadian cent. This will be number 6 of the box. And it is a 1983. Roll 29, and we have yet another Canadian cent. It's in the middle of the roll. It is a 1965. Roll 35, and we're going to have another Canadian cent. It's been a little bit since we've gotten a wheat cent. The box has kind of cooled down, but we're still on the Canadians. And this one's a 1984. Roll 41, and we do have a minor variety found. Have a 1960D under the scope, and notice that it kind of looked like an RPM, and there's a ton of RPMs for the 1960Ds. And this one is the RPM 49. You can see it has kind of the same RPM detail right there. And then one of the die markers is this depression at the right eave on the reverse. And if we flip our coin over, has that exact same thing right there. And it's not in too bad a shape. It does have this kind of dark ring on the obverse, but still, an RPM, that's a great find. Roll 44, and it's been a long time, but we finally have another wheat cent. This one is a pretty worn 1946 out of San Francisco. Next roll 45, is our Canadian cent ender. Don't see anything else in the roll, but it is a 1978. Roll 47, and near the back of the roll, we have another wheat cent. It's another one from 1946, but this one's from Denver. Next roll, and it seems like these last few rows of the box are heating up again, because we have another wheat cent. This one is a 1955 Denver. Roll 49, and we have another Canadian cent. Just a few coins in. This one's from 1981. That was it for the first box. We ended up getting 10 Canadians, 9 wheats, 3 of which were from the 30s with a hot start to the box, and we filled about a third of the copper jar. Now let's go on to the second box, and hopefully we can get some good finds. Roll 14, and we finally have the first find of box number 2. It's been really slow so far, but we actually have our first foreign. It's going to be another Canadian cent, and it's from 1981. Roll 16, and we have another Canadian cent. This box has been pretty slow, but I'm hoping we can at least get some wheat cents. And this Canadian is a 1977. Roll 21, and we're finally going to have the first wheat cent of box 2. And it's a 1941, minted in San Francisco. Next roll, roll 22, we have a miscellaneous find. Saw that this penny had some glue on it, so I thought it might have been something, and I flipped it over. And it has a horseshoe and a clover on the right, so I think it's just a lucky penny with some counter stamps on it. That's pretty cool. Roll 23, and we have another find. It's going to be another Canadian, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have a young head. It's going to be the oldest Canadian in the box, and it is. And it's a 1957. Usually they're in the 60s, but one from the 50s is a great find. Roll 24, and we're going to have the second wheat cent of the second box. And it is a last year, 1958 Denver. Roll 27, and we have another wheat cent. Glad to see that the second box is heating up after that really slow start. And this wheat cent is a 1956 Denver. Roll 37, and we have another wheat cent. This one is in the middle of the roll. And it is a 1954 Denver. Next roll, we have another wheat cent. This one's near the back of the roll right here. And it is a 1944 Denver. Roll 46, and we have another Canadian penny. It's right here. And it's from 1966. Roll 48, and we're going to have another Canadian cent. It's in the back of the roll right here. And it's another one from the 60s. This one's a 1969. Both boxes have been hunted, so let's go over the finds. We ended up with 8 1959s, 20 estimates, and 28 2009s. We got 15 foreigns, all were Canadian, from our oldest, a 1957 Younghead, through 1989. There are a couple miscellaneous finds. We did get that 1960D RPM 49, which is pretty cool. And then we got this 1980 with the lucky penny counter stamps on it. Wheat cents, we ended up getting 14 for the 2 boxes, 9 in the first, 5 in the second. The best ones were all in the first box, 3 from the 30s, a 1930, a 1935, and a 1936. And then for copper, we ended up with about 75% of the jar full, so that's pretty good. And this wasn't a too bad 2-box hunt.